Hey, what's up, sports fans, and welcome to the debut of the new series, Sports Zone. So here we are. If you remember in a video a couple months ago, I posted just giving an update about the channel. I mentioned how going forward I was going to focus primarily just on rival talk with Marcus, talking about NFL and making our picks during the season. I did mention that I was thinking about doing a monthly episode where I just talk about all the sports I like to cover in one video instead of doing all these different series. So here we are. This is that series, Sports Zone. Like I said, once a month I'll be posting these, usually towards the end of the month, so I can kind of go over what's happened recently during that month and look forward to the next month. As you could tell in the intro, you can see the teams that I'll be mostly focusing on. I'll have, of course, the chapters set out, so if you're only interested in like one or two teams and not watching the whole thing, that's fine. Just you can skip ahead to whichever section you want to look at and get some latest news and updates and my takes on. So you're more than welcome to do that. And yeah, so of course, me being the person I am, I also have to have a bold prediction. So I'm going to have a little thing towards the end of each of these videos where I make a bold prediction for the upcoming month related to one of these sports teams. So yeah, without further ado then, I'll get into it. We'll start with the Seattle Mariners, who just recently beat the Athletics again, took a 2-game series from them, won today 5-1. They now sit at 69-58 with a minus 56 run differential. Out here in Seattle, we're not really paying attention to that run differential anymore. It's really because of the series we had against the Padres back in May, and then this recent Astros series that really has kind of just thrown that run differential askew. So we don't care about that. But it's been an unbelievable season for the Mariners. Nobody expected this. I didn't even expect this. I mean, back at the start of the season when I was doing my Going Yard videos, I said they had the potential, but I didn't think it would actually happen like this. They seem to be ahead of schedule, and it doesn't make any sense how they're doing it either. They're just honestly the most clutch team in all of baseball right now. They get the hits when it matters. The pitching comes up when it matters. It's fun to watch, that's for sure. They have 31 comeback wins this year, so it's been not so fun in the heart, but who cares about that, right? So right now they stand 1 game back of Oakland now. They've actually won 5 straight against Oakland, so that's big for them. And then they're 5 games back against Houston, who plays later tonight, and 2.5 games back of Boston, who also plays later tonight. So we'll see what happens there. But the Mariners, they're right in this thing. Looking at the remaining schedule going forward over the next 5 or 6 weeks, I'd say it's kind of favorable for the Mariners. They have 7 games against the Royals, who have been actually tough on the Astros, so I wouldn't necessarily say that the Royals are going to be an easy team to beat. They could be one of those teams that likes to play spoiler at the end of the season. So 7 against them, 6 against the Diamondbacks, 6 against Houston still, so that could be tricky. Still got 7 against Oakland, 6 against LA, the Angels, and then finally what's going to be the biggest series in the month of September, 3 against Boston here at T-Mobile Park. That's going to be one heck of a series. So yeah, overall I'd say it's a rather favorable schedule for the Mariners if they can just continue to do what they've been doing and taking care of business where they need to take care of business. So like I said, just in 69-58 right now, right in the thick of this race. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a fun month of baseball in September, and we'll see who gets called up for September as well, to who could possibly help the team. Maybe Julio Rodriguez could get called up if we're right there still in the thick of it. I don't think it'll happen at this point, but who knows? Julio's been coming up big in all areas of his game this year, so crazier things have happened. So just keep on winning for the Mariners. Keep on doing it however they're doing it. I still don't understand how they are where they're at, but they're there. So go Mariners. All right, next we got the Seattle Sounders, who had quite an eventful week recently. It's the MLS All-Star break right now, the MLS All-Star game tomorrow against the Liga MX, I believe it is, All-Stars. So that'll be fun to watch. Christian Roldan is going to be the captain of the MLS All-Stars. He's finally getting his due recognition that he deserves. But the Sounders, this last week they played 3 away games, road games, rather tough games. They had a game in Portland, which is always a great rivalry, at Dallas. While Dallas FC is not that great, they always give Sounders trouble, especially down there in Dallas. And then at Columbus, a rematch of last year's MLS Cup. Well, Sounders took care of business pretty handedly. They had 9 points in 1 week on the road, and that's unbelievable. They won 6-2 against Portland. That was fun. 1-0 against Dallas, and then 2-1 against Columbus. That was just a thrilling comeback victory. They were down 1-0 in, I believe, the 87th minute, and within one to 2 minutes, they scored 2 goals and they ended up winning. So that was fun to get revenge at Columbus. Rui Diaz right now, I believe, is the leading goal scorer, and he should be front runner for MVP. I know Chicharito's had a great season, but he's been dealing with injuries lately, I think. And, Rui is he's an assassin with the ball. It's unreal what he does. The Sounders, they're back on top of the West after stumbling a little bit there. They got 42 points at the top of the West. They are 7 behind New England for the Shield, but, the Sport of Shield, I don't really care about it. It doesn't really matter that much. So, is what it is there. As I mentioned, Christian Roldan, all-star captain. Great for him. He deserves it. And looking ahead for the Sounders, upcoming, they have matches against Portland this week, so be careful with that one. Portland's definitely going to want some revenge coming up here after we just dropped 6 goals on them. So we got Portland, and Minnesota comes back here. Then we got the League's Cup against Santos Laguna, and then at Real Salt Lake and at Sporting Kansas City at the end of September. So that'll be another big one for the Sounders as they're right there battling with Kansas City for the top spot in the West. Other than that, the Sounders are getting healthy at the right time. Nuhu, who was critical in defense early in the season, he's been missing with, I believe, an adductor strain. It's really sucked. The defense is still held up without him, but definitely need him. It sounds like he's close to being back. He might be back this Sunday, I think. And then Stephen Fry. Don't get me wrong, Stephen Cleveland has done an amazing job in goal for the Sounders, better than I think anyone expected. But Stephen Fry is on another level. He's in my opinion, he's the best goalkeeper in MLS right now, so it's hard to replace him. So when he's healthy, he's out there. If they want to do rotation to kind of ease Fry back in, that's fine, because Cleveland, I think, has earned that. But Stephen Fry, he's on a whole nother level, and sounds like he's going to be back soon. That's a huge boost for the Sounds going forward. And Jordan Morris, he's making a rather speedy recovery from his recent ACL tear he had last year. There's rumors he possibly could be ready for the playoffs. That would be something, and that would just make the Sounders team even more deadlier than they already are. So, yeah, keep it up for the Sounders. They finally found their groove after slumping there a little bit in the middle of the season, but they seem to have that form back. Next, we got the Seahawks. I'm not going to really talk too much about the Seahawks, as I do most of that in rival talk, and there isn't too much to talk about anyways right now, as it is. They've had an awful preseason so far. It doesn't really matter. It's preseason. Like 5 or 6 starters have played. It's the biggest news mentioned in rival talk the last episode. If you watched it, Jamal Adams' contract extension. Now we need to get Brown and Diggs done as well. They got $13 million cap space. I know they just signed Luke Wilson today, brought him back to help out that tight end room because it's some injuries thinning out that room. But yeah, so they brought back Luke Wilson, see what happens there. I don't think he's going to really contribute much in the field, but I know they like him in the locker room and whatnot, so we'll see what happens there. But other than that, got the last preseason game coming up against the Chargers this weekend. I'll talk about more of that in the upcoming episode of Rival Talk later this week. And after that, it's on to the regular season. The first few games for the Seahawks, they're at the Colts, at home against the Titans, and then they go to Minnesota. Minnesota's come here like every year, it feels like the last decade, so finally going to Minnesota to play a game there. So that should be fun. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's an easy schedule to start for the Seahawks. The Colts can be tricky, but without any certainty there at quarterback position, you don't know. The Titans out of those 3 are probably going to be the toughest, but thankfully the Seahawks are playing here, so that should play in their favor. So yeah, go Hawks. All right, next up we got the Washington Huskies. Looking at Washington Huskies football right now, getting ready for this season. I was looking forward. I thought Sam Heward was going to come in and take the job starting right away, but it sounds like he might sit this year out and just kind of develop a little bit, which is fine, whatever. I wasn't too impressed with Dylan Morris last year, but also last year was just a weird year, and I guess it's kind of hard to gauge really, what's real, what's not from last year. But sounds like Dylan Morris has really taken the job at quarterback and just run away with it. So, hey, if he's made improvements, if he's gone smarter and whatnot, then all the more to him. Hopefully, he can lead this team then. A standout player that I've heard a lot of good things about and looking forward to seeing this year as well. Wide receiver Taj Davis. I've heard he's been turning heads during Huskies camp, and he's making some big plays. So I look forward to see what he can do out there with Morris under center. The defense, this is a staple of this team, and it's a staple of Huskies football really, for the last decade or so. This defense is what's going to carry this team. So, don't need much at the quarterback positions. Hopefully Dylan Morris can do just enough, especially considering he's going to have a stacked running back room as well. But this defense, right now, Pro Football Focus, which take take what they say with a grain of salt. You know, they're kind of hit and miss with some of their rankings and things that they come out with, but they currently have the Huskies defense ranked number 5 in the nation. So I'd have to agree with that. This defense is still stacked, even losing, Elijah Molden from last year. The biggest question mark for me in the defense is the linebacking core, but I think defensive line is strong enough. Secondary is always strong enough. I think they'll be able to figure it out. Their Huskies right now are currently ranked 20th in the AP poll. I think that's a little too low for them. I think it's a little disrespectful. I think they're going to be better than that, but they'll move up as the season goes along. I think if it was me right now, I'd probably rank them 16th maybe or so, but 20th will take it. My prediction for the Huskies this year, like I said, I got big expectations from them this year, mainly because of that defense. I got them going 10-2, Pac-12 North champions and Pac-12 champs, and playing in the Rose Bowl. Might sound a little, pipe dreamy-ish, but I don't think it is, because I know this defense is still stacked, and I think Dylan Morris will be able to do just enough to lead this team along with that defense behind him and the running backs he'll have. Just do enough. Don't have to be the hero. Just play smart, manage the game well, make the throws you need to make the plays you need to make them. Should be fine. If the Huskies could make the college football playoff with Jake Browning at quarterback, then they can make the college football playoff with Dylan Morris at quarterback. But yeah, their first few games coming up, they'll be playing Montana at home to start the season. Then they'll be going to Michigan, so that's going to be fun. Get a root against Jim Harbaugh for the first time in several years. I look forward to that. And then they come home and play Arkansas State and California. So Huskies, that Michigan game is going to be the big one, but they should be able to get off to a pretty good start. I think they can beat Michigan, even though they're away. I think they can handle them. So we'll see. But go Dogs! All right, and next, before I start this one, I don't have anything to talk about with the Kraken this episode. I don't think I'm well versed enough in hockey yet to really talk too much, and there isn't too much to talk about them yet, other than they finally have a team. As far as I understand, the Kraken, from what I understand, they have a really good defense and a really good goaltending situation. But the biggest question is who's going to score the goals for them at front. So, I'm glad they finally have a team. I was excited, and they made some good moves in free agency, I know, and we'll see what happens. I know they play in a weaker division, from what I understand, so that should benefit them. And it sounds like they have a legit shot to actually make the playoffs in the first year. So that would be fun. So we'll see what happens to them. Maybe I'll have more to talk about next time. But right now, not too much to talk about the Kraken. So, last but certainly not least, we got Manchester City. Not a Seattle sports team, obviously, but got to talk about the Premier League a little bit and talk about my team. Started rough for them to start the season. So they dropped the Community Shield to Leicester City 1-0 to start, which, was okay, whatever. Wasn't really the real team plan necessarily. But then they went and dropped the Premier League opener at Tottenham 1-0, and that was a little rough. They looked uninspired that game. Didn't really come out looking like the defending Premier League champs. But the next game, first game back to Etihad with fans, which was fun to see. They gave it to Norwich City, and Norwich, I know that they're a bottom-dwelling team, but a couple years ago they did get the best of Man City in a game, which was kind of embarrassing, but not this time. Man City just took it to them 5-0. Jack Grealish got his first goal in the sky blue, which was more of a right place, right time situation. But hey, it's his first goal in the sky blue, so that was good to see. Mahrez picking back up where he left off had a nice goal. And yeah, if you ask me, they still need a striker. I love Pep. He's a genius at tactics and everything, but I don't think they can do what they did last year with the false nine through another season. It's definitely not going to get them the Champions League Cup this year. They got to find that striker. They can't keep playing with a false nine. It's going to get figured out. I think it's getting figured out already. They need someone who can break down defenses. And hey, I was all on board with Kane, and I like Kane, but breaking news just recently I saw about like an hour ago. Apparently, Cristiano Ronaldo wants to come to Manchester City. So that's some news. Kane is good and all, but if we're talking about Ronaldo wanting to come to Manchester City, then Manchester City needs to make that happen. So that would anger a lot of people out there in Europe, I know, probably, because the whole saying Manchester City's ruining football. Well, ruining football and we don't care. So give us Ronaldo. That would be fun. So we'll see what happens there. Either Kane or Ronaldo. I would obviously prefer to have Ronaldo. You're talking about one of the greatest players the greatest player of our generation. The debate with Messi. Personally, I think Messi is the greatest, but still would love to have Ronaldo. Other than that, Upcoming schedule for City, they got Arsenal this week, who's off to a horrible start. Then they're at Leicester versus Southampton, who just drew with Manchester United. Got to get that in there. Manchester United showing their true selves, where they can take out an opponent with ease one week, but then just completely flop the next week. I love it. And then at Chelsea, first match with Chelsea since that unfortunate Champions League final last year. So hopefully City can get a little revenge on them for that. All right, so that wraps it up for all the teams in this first episode of Sports Zone. Before I go, as I said, the end of this video will be where I give my bold predictions. But first, this is the first video, so I don't really have any, fan input, any input from anyone out there. But what I'd like to do is, if you're watching this, if you want to just drop something in the comments or reach out to me on Twitter. If you want me to talk, if you obviously got different sports teams than I do. If you want me to kind of look at and give my takes on your sports team or something else sports related, then please leave a comment or reach out to me on Twitter and let me know what would you like to hear me talk about in Sports Zone, because I'm open to anything. That's what we call it, Sports Zone. But anyways, time for the bold prediction. Now this one's going to do with the Mariners this time. Those of you who don't follow the Mariners probably won't think this is much of a bold prediction, but if you know, then you know. I believe my bold prediction is that the Mariners, in their last 6 games against the Houston Astros they have coming up, the Mariners are going to go 4-2 against the Astros in these last 6 games against them. And by the end of that second series with Houston, at the beginning of September, I believe, they will hold sole possession of the second wild card and be within 3 games of Houston for the division. So that's my bold prediction. I know saying that going 4-2 against a team in 6 games doesn't really sound bold, but if you know the Mariners, you know that they're owned by the Houston Astros right now. So even saying that they would win 1 or 2 games against the Astros would be a bold prediction. But I'm saying they go 4-2 in the last 6 games against them, and they're going to be right there for the playoffs. All I know is it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun month of baseball for the Mariners. It's exciting. So hopefully they can pull it off. So yeah, before I go, just a reminder, $50 Amazon gift card giveaway still going on. Get me to 50 subscribers. We're slowly getting up there. Once you get that 50 subscriber mark, I'll do the drawing, post a video, and see if you win the Amazon gift card. But yeah, you know the drill with the giveaway. Simply just share. You can share this video or share the channel on your social media pages. Make sure I am aware that you shared it, and then be subscribed to the channel, and you'll be entered in the giveaway. And so yeah, with that, that's the end of this first episode of Sports Zone. Please like and share the video, hit the subscribe button, and sports!